As I have to ask for your forgiveness for wearing this strange sunglass, even though I'm inside a room. I have a sty on my eye, one of my to my right eye, and it doesn't look that pleasant. So some of you, this may be during your lunchtime, and it may be not so good for your appetite. And I was trying to find a more, subdued version of a sunglass, which I have, but I can never find it. Such is samsaric life. Whenever we need something, they are never there. Then I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to just introduce this sutra. On the very special day of Buddha's arrival or arising on this earth. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I believe that introducing the Buddha and his teaching has so much merit for just individually for myself. And of course, I dedicate this merit to all sentient beings, especially because also I know that today is Mother's Day for a lot of people in different parts of the world. I think in Taiwan and some of the Asian countries, I believe. Mother is so important. Shakyamuni Buddha went to Tushita heaven to repay the kindness and the care of his mother. The value of the mother, the bondage, or I don't know, connection with the mother, I guess also with father, grandfather, grandmother. I think this value still exists in some parts of the world, especially in places like Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, China. I was told that in places like China or the Chinese-speaking world has a lot of these. The biggest amount of 3 generations living under one roof. I think that's kind of that value will, I think, slowly, sadly, this may go. I hope not, because there's a new value now, the individualism, independence, and all that. So I hope and pray that today, in the day of Mother, that this value will not diminish. Especially as a Buddhist, we think all beings are Mother, not only metaphorically, but since the follower of the Buddha believes in reincarnation, all sentient beings at one point of time or many point of times have been our mother countless of times. Okay, so today I like to emphasize this. Today I am introducing this sutra, Arya Mahayana Prasada Prabhavana Nama Mahayana Sutra. It's a Mahayana Sutra, and the subject of the sutra is, well, in Tibetan we call it Depa. I don't know how to translate this in English. Trust, belief, devotion. I'm sure since this event is organized by a translator, I'm sure they will really put a lot of effort in trying to find the right word. And I mean, probably in Chinese, they already have a good term for this. But in English, I don't know whether the devotion, trust, faith actually really reflects what is meant by Depa in Tibetan. Anyway, let's use the word trust or believe for now, just so that we can communicate. I guess the word trust has some sort of a more neutral connotation, right? And in the scientific world, in the more, modern world, I have a feeling that sometimes the word believe has a little bit of a, I don't know, not really negative, but I don't know. It's like, it's a sort of look down, I think, sometimes. But you know what? Belief is all we have. Belief is all we are able to do as a sentient being. That's all we have. As long as you are interacting with your mind, I mean, how else can you, right? How else can you interact with anything without the mind? Table that I'm looking at right now doesn't have this mind that, oh, I wish to be a table. I wish to, I don't know, have all those on the top of my head. Basically, as long as there is consciousness, mind, and you interact with the world, you are doing it because you have a belief. And that's, yes, of course, we have a notion called objective. Even the objective is actually subjective. Recently, I was listening to a podcast by a great scholar. His name is Samdong Rinpoche. And he was talking about science and Buddhism. I can't really, I don't want to, misquote him, but what he said, essentially, what he said is the science is just a belief, nothing else. Of course, the scientists don't want to hear that. Belief and the trust is all there is. Okay? That's all what we human beings, that's how we, we function. Of course, some belief become more powerful just because it seems to not fail, right? Every day you make coffee, and then it's every day for the past 30 years, it's coffee. Okay, maybe there are different versions of beans and roasting and so on and so forth, but it's a coffee. Coffee suddenly doesn't end up becoming tea. So because of the, function, because of, duration, and also because of the consensus, everybody says this is coffee, not tea, so on and so forth. So sometimes belief gets elevated as this is real, this is true. It's empirically, valid, so to speak. Since we human beings only thing we are able to do, especially at the beginning, is belief or trust. Having right trust is very important. And this is where this sutra explains so thoroughly. Anyway, this sutra happened at the peak of the Vulture's Peak. And there were a lot of incredible, sublime beings with the Buddha. And this happened to be a conversation with the Buddha and some of the bodhisattvas. And the subject of the conversation happened to be about trust, path. Now, I don't, I'm sorry to say this, but first of all, as I always say this, sutra is a really difficult to teach. I dare not, cannot. I'm just introducing here. I insist this. So my ability to explain the sutra is like basically non-existent. And I'm not even saying this as some sort of a, humility, practice of humility. It's the fact. Also, I'm a little bit busy today, so I may not be able to stay here long. So because of that, obviously, I cannot cover the whole sutra. But I'm going to extract few, especially from the beginning. It begins with the Buddha emphasizing on trust or devotion or belief, especially for the beginner bodhisattvas. And as he stated that, one bodhisattva whose name is Tepa Tapchen. I don't know whether we should be even translating those. I'm sure these names are they have a specific name. If I literally translate it, means the bodhisattva, with a great skill of devotion, something like that. He asked politely, how should one define in the Mahayana tradition or in the Mahayana path, how should one define devotion or the trust? And how a bodhisattva should gather or invoke this trust? And what different types of devotion is there? And what kind of benefit that this devotion or the trust has? So it's a very, very big subject. As a reply to that, Buddha was very pleased. He really praised this particular bodhisattva for asking this very important question. And he urged the bodhisattva to listen to his answer carefully. Thus began the sutra, the teaching. And beginning with Buddha saying there are 11 kind of characteristics of a deva or a trust or a devotion that is taught in the Mahayana. And I'm not going to, go through all of them, as I said, since we are really don't have time this time. And I actually also, it's not just because I don't have time. Even if I have time, capacity is not there. But I will try to explain first two characteristics of the devotion. And they are a devotion or the trust or the belief has to be clear, clarity, okay, clear. And then the second one is sort of a moisture. Lenpa means like a moisture is sort of not a dry, basically. Okay, so let's talk about the clarity. what is this clarity? When Buddha said that a devotion should have the element of clarity, clear, illuminating kind of. Then, as an answer to that, Buddha talked about 4 different kinds of, the opposite of clarity, dull or I don't know how to translate the word nyokpa, basically confused, deluded. So he talks about 4 different kinds of confusion. And when one is clear from these 4 different kinds of confusion, then we are talking about the characteristic of the devotion, that is clarity. So the 4, Kongchobi nyokpa, Yimichibi nyokpa, Dangwi nyokpa, Tesomji nyokpa. Buddha said, those who are devoted to the grand vehicle, Mahayana, they will have no aggression towards the path of the Mahayana. This is a very big one. This is actually taught elsewhere also. And this is a really big subject. And let's come one of the most important one. Non-duality, emptiness, shunyata. Many people are consciously or unconsciously, how should I put it, angry with it. People don't like non-duality. I mean, right now when I speak this, I don't know how you understand, but generally in our day-to-day, and I'm not even talking about some other religious people angry with the emptiness or shunyata, of course not. That may exist, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about people like you and me. People who are so dualistic, people who are so into extremes, people who are moralistic, people who are so into righteousness. Wisdom such as non-duality, emptiness is so annoying. People want, like right and wrong, direction, so to speak. You understand? It's like, and really, this is a really big subject. I mean, think about this. People say, oh, everybody wants freedom, right? Freedom. Really? Think about it. Real freedom will annoy you. Yeah, 1 or 2 freedoms, yes, we want. I mean, we like. Complete freedom? Scary. Annoying. People love black and white. Look at the world. Listen any podcast. about economy, about politics, about, I don't know, anything. I mean, watch a movie, Hollywood movie, Bollywood movie, whatever. There's always a baddie, there's always a goodie. If there is no duality, Amazon doesn't have a business. So non-duality is so annoying. Really, it's non-duality is the worst news for the economy. In our mind, this is good. This is the best. Like this ink is the best. Like that. Okay, so the Mahayana, okay, so Mahayana's devotion. The bodhisattvas, even the beginner bodhisattva we are talking about, even the beginner bodhisattvas, if they have adoration, admiration, get inspired by even the conversations of shunyata, emptiness, non-duality, that is freedom from anger towards non-duality, and that is one of the definition of what we mean by clarity. And therefore, okay, the second confusion is doubt. Okay, always. This is again very big. Doubt is like a modern world's biggest business. How do you measure? I don't know, anything, a person or whatever, or a book, like a restaurant. Okay, we are going to choose a restaurant. What do? You look at star rating, right? Rating, critics, like an element of doubt. Doubt is something that we cherish. Generally, we human beings, we cherish doubt. Yet, we are always pained and we are just suffering so much because of our doubt. It's just we human beings are the strangest creature. We cherish doubt and we are so bothered by the doubt also. Doubt of our own ability, our own, just everything. But that's how it is. Anyway, for the Bodhisattva's devotion or the trust, free from this doubt. The third, fear. A Bodhisattva Bodhisattva's devotion is free from fear. Now we are talking about, again, a very, very, very big subject here. You and I, we are all conformist. Do you know why? Because we have fear. validity. So important, isn't it? Legitimacy. So important. But here we are not only talking about that kind of fear. Fear of shunyata again. We want things to be real and solid. And if we hear, hey, they're not really real and not really solid, this is so scary. Okay, to be free from that is one of the quality, the third quality. But the fourth, patience or tolerance, actually. Searching, this is again a big one. Most of us, we just cannot tolerate ideas such as karma. I will tell you how, why we do not tolerate karma. Yes, generally we say, oh yeah, everything is karma, cause, conditioning, effect, like even the scientists sort of vaguely say, oh, cause, condition, and then if there's no obstacle, the result comes. But if you really dig down, we do not tolerate that. Do you know why? Because we all are trying to fix things. Fixer. We think we can fix. We think we are like a God, Almighty God. We can fix. We do not tolerate. I think I can wash my underwear and dry. I don't tolerate, the fact that maybe it will rain today. So there's no sun. And if there's no sun in Bir, where I'm staying, it gets so wet. And then all your laundry, all your underwear smells long time. So, and here we are talking, tolerate. We do not tolerate karma. We do not tolerate Buddha, omniscience. We can tolerate some smart guys. But all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, no. We can tolerate things like, some truth, okay, world is round, the sun, like all those, scientific stuff. But we do not tolerate things like shunyata. So that's it. That is one of the, that is the first one, the first salva, the clarity. Okay, the devotion, the characteristic of the devotion is a clarity, and clarity is defined by freedom from 4 different kinds of downfall. Okay. Okay, I'll quickly go through the other one. There's actually much more. Let's actually, since it's such a beautiful, sutra, and I feel like I'm not doing a good job because of time, and also I didn't, and I just want to at least talk about the second one. Even the first one has so many things here, which, so let's just hope that we will meet again one of these days and maybe talk a little bit more about this. And anyway, before I forget, some of you may ask, So how do we gain this devotion? How do we gain this trust? How do we gain this belief? I tell you, of course, the rational way is the hearing, contemplation, asking questions, study, etc., etc. But the best one is pray to the Buddha, Bodhisattva, so that you will have this. It's very funny, isn't it? How do you have the trust to the Buddha? Pray to the Buddha so that you will have trust. That's how it is. Okay, moisture. What are we talking about here? Devotion, moisture? This is a really big one. So we will not finish this one completely. Basically, Buddha said, a bodhisattva who has this trust, this Mahayana trust, this Mahayana devotion, this bodhisattva's body is always moistened by the devotion. And his mind will also be moistened. It's such a beautiful, what an incredible term. How do you feel when your lip is so dry? How do you feel when you have no moisturizer? You feel deprived. You feel like you cannot function. That's it, function. So this, when we talk about the moisture, we are talking about like glue. And then there's a very extensive discussions about the characteristic of this moisture. For instance, Buddha said, worldly beings, those who are enjoying the worldly enjoyment, they may have bliss with their body and their mind. But this kind of bliss we are talking about this moisture, and the moisture is defined in several ways. One is bliss. You see, a bodhisattva who really is devoted to something like a bodhicitta or a shunyata, because of even the beginner bodhisattva, and we are not talking about the big bodhisattvas, even the bigger bodhisattvas, because they are admirer of this truth that everything is an illusion, somehow it makes them relax. It makes them have less anxiety, not fidgety, not stuck. And this kind of bliss is incomparable with the bliss that is obtained by worldly beings through their worldly wealth. Forget the worldly. And this is the part that I really wanted to say, and then I think I will have to end it. Zugdang zug mebana chupi samchen namji dewa dan yi dewa khayin ba tini tindrawa teda ludang simper chepa maino. I have to say, share this. Of course, the bliss obtained by the worldly people through drinking, eating, I don't know, shopping, whatever. That kind of, like ordinary bliss. And the bliss of the bliss of the body and the mind of the bodhisattva who has a devotion towards the shunyata, incomparable. Because the bliss of the person who is like worldly enjoying has anxiety. Okay, that's it, kind of easily understandable. But this one, this is a very specific Mahayana. Even those who have probably renounced the worldly pleasure, but those who have really diligently entered into the world of things like shamatha, meditation, mindfulness, mindfulness, 9 days of mindfulness, 9 years of mindfulness, they have a very, very amazing different kinds of bliss. You can let's call it a spiritual, meditative mindfulness bliss. Okay, if you do, let's say 1 month, let's say intensive mindfulness meditation. Really, if you really do it for like intensive one, I assure you, you may even have like 2 or 3 spoons of food every day and you are still happy, blissful, not hungry, healthy. Your mind will be sober, so on and so forth. Now here, Buddha is saying, even this bliss, they are nothing compared to an ordinary bodhisattva who is devoted to the shunyata, to the Mahayana path. That bliss that is obtained by this bodhisattva through their devotion is far, far greater than the bliss that is obtained by the meditation freaks. Well, I'm sorry, I think I will have to go because I don't know, for some reason these days I have to do some teachings here and there. So my next schedule is calling, and I'm sure there's some merit for remembering the Buddha, talk about the Dharma, or that. I'm very sure of us, you listening, me talking, and this merit, let us all dedicate for the world that is becoming very volatile. I don't know, maybe becoming volatile, or maybe it's always volatile, I don't know. But may every one of us be sober, not get annoyed by shunyata, not get annoyed by, ideas such as, bad and good, they are relative. People get annoyed if you tell these things. People really get annoyed. So we pray that people will be more, I don't know, there's more tolerance, more bliss, so on and so forth. And I always forget to thank all my translators who are doing incredible job So this time I take the opportunity to thank all my translators who are doing, I'm sure it must be so difficult to translate because many times when I listen, sometimes my own accidentally listen to my own teachings that people have recorded. I don't understand what I'm saying. So thank you. And thank all the organizers. Okay.